morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'd like to remind everyone to please make sure that all cell phones are turned to the off or vibrate position. Also, please be advised our city council meetings are broadcast on television, on Comcast Channel 99, and rebroadcast on WMGJ Radio. This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order. The chair calls on City Clerk Ivan Nelson for the roll call.
Councilwoman Toles. Here. Councilman Williams.
Here.
Worthy.
Here.
Eccles. Here. Billingsley.
Here.
Councilman Cannon is absent today. Councilman Reed.
Here.
We have a quorum present and our meeting is open for business. I'm going to ask Brian Harbison to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Almighty God, we thank you for today. We thank you for the blessings of life that you've given us, that you provide us here in this great city. God, we ask your protection in the next few hours and days with the pending storm, that, Lord, not only you'll keep us warm, but keep us safe. And we just pray for those in our community who are struggling to stay warm. We just pray, God, that you'll wrap your arms around them, provide the protection that they need. Pray your wisdom today for this council and the business they have to tend to. And God, as always, we promise to give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the work session and council meeting held on January 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
The chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of accounts for the week of January 5th through the 11th.
So moved. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Proclamations. Unfinished business. Item number 8A is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance at 1401 Chancellor Avenue in District 3. Dorothy Joseph and the heirs of Mary Sawyer, who are listed as Mandy Robertson, Joshua Sawyer, Ida Mae Sawyer, Daniel Sawyer, Crystal Sawyer, and Foster Smith being the last known owners. This resolution was tabled for 30 days on December 12th. What is the pleasure of the council?
On recommendation of the building department, I would like to ask for another 30-day table, please.
Okay. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution for an additional 30 days, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries to table for 30 days.
This is the time and place as advertised to conduct a public hearing allowing anyone to speak in opposition to or in favor of a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 1302 Carolina Avenue in District 1. Marcia E. Hardney and Alabama Corporation being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, I'm Brian Harbison with the Building Department. We started this case in July of last year. There have been no improvements. There was a building permit taken out in November. No work has been done on that. We're asking today for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to abate.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearings are resolutions assessing nuisance abatement liens against property. This is for demolition work that's already been performed, and we have 5 locations. These are items numbers 10 through 14 on the agenda. 305 South 14th Street in District 3, $2,291.40. 1325 Alabama Street in District 3, $2,291.40. Item number 12, 1327 Alabama Street, $2,491.40. And item number 13 is also in District 3, it's 1339 Forest Avenue, $2,491.40. Item number 14 is in District 5, 1507 Garfield Avenue, $2,041.40. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to any of these resolutions? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? The chair will entertain a motion to adopt all 5 resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt all 5 resolutions, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt all 5.
Our last public hearing today is a resolution approving issuance of an alcoholic beverage license. Lindeed and Associates LLC, doing business as Sugar Moon, located at 210 Locust Street, has applied for a restaurant retail liquor license. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Item number 16 is a resolution appointing and reappointing members to the Gadsden Airport Authority. This appoints Jonathan M. Welch for a term expiring July 31st, 2021, and reappoints Jackie Ragland and Robert Turk for terms expiring July 31st, 2023. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Item number 17 is a resolution appointing and reappointing members to the Gadsden Commercial Development Authority. This appoints Eric Wright for a term expiring December 31st, 2018, and reappoints Keith Lyles, Scott Heinzman, Christy Knowles, and Wayne Holler for terms expiring December 31st, 2020. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
I oppose.
we have 1 no, motion carries to adopt.
Okay. New business, is there any new business? There is one item of new business that I'd like to ask the council to consider today. It's a resolution opposing proposed bill regarding the election of the Gadsden City Board of Education. I'd like to ask that we consider this today.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today as an item of new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All right, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
Abstain.
we have 1
I
abstention.
oppose.
We have 1 no and 1 abstention. Everyone else is yes.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt.
Before we move on with the agenda, there's just a couple things I'd like to say about this particular resolution.
Let me speak first.
Go ahead.
I'm 74 years old, and I've seen things happen in this town that just bothers me. And it bothers me that a representative that we can't get to come and talk to us wants to tell us how to run our Board of Education. Now, when he was on the Board of Education of Etowah County,
he lived in Southside High School taking care of his bad children. And I'm telling you, and I learned just from some of the people that were in Southside High School, the teachers that were there. And for him to come up and want us to change our system is just ridiculous. Now, if the people want to vote for this, I don't have a problem with that. But now, at-large people on an elected board, you can't do that anymore. Nobody allows that. That's unconstitutional. So for him to propose something like that is just ridiculous. And I know sometimes I disagree with the things that people say and people do, but I think they have the right to do that. It's like this council. We disagree on things, but most of the time we disagree with each other, and we don't get into a big rigmarole. But I mean, we have so many things that these representatives could be doing to help this city and this county. But are they doing that? No. They don't do any of that. So I'm saying, do what you're supposed to be doing. He doesn't represent anybody in the city of Gadsden, not one person. So for him to want to make a change like that is just irresponsible. I know he has not talked to me. I don't know about the other people on this council, but I just know that it's ridiculous for him to want to do something like that without consulting with this body. And I think 10 years ago, they had a petition out to vote for this, and they lost by 200 or 300 votes. And I don't begrudge anybody that wants an elected school board, but I have a council meeting, a community meeting, every month. It has never come up. It's never come up. We only have 10 or 12 at our meetings, at my meetings. I can only speak for mine. And people just don't come, but I still have them, so they have opportunities to voice their opinion on things. People want services in the city of Gadsden. That's what they want. And I try to do the best that I can to get those services for those people. I talk to the mayor, I talk to his assistants and things like that. So for him to come up and want to make some changes like that, I just think it's ridiculous.
There are a couple things that I'd like to highlight in this resolution, and I think Councilman Billingsley alluded to one of them, and that is that this council proved, this body proved in 2008 that it was in support of a referendum that allowed the electorate to vote on an elected school board. And so I don't think that this current council is really any different in that regard. We are not opposed, and I think this, again, this is one of the main purposes of this resolution, is to show that we're not opposed to allowing people to vote their conscience on an elected school board. And this council has had some very frank discussion about the issue, and we're not at each other's throats about it. We all agree that there should be an opportunity, if the public truly wants that, there should be an opportunity for them to vote on this issue. Another thing to highlight, and again, Councilman Billingsley alluded to the 8 at-large school board members. You know, folks, I think this is the very difficult part of the discussion, but it's something that has to be called out. And when the referendum was presented in 2008, race was a primary motive for why it was presented then. The version of the bill that's being presented right now that we're opposed to, race is a motive for why it's being presented. And in particular, many of us have a problem with the 8th at-large seat because, again, I think it's pretty obvious. And people don't like, that's a very difficult one to discuss. But I think it's very obvious that that's being presented in a light and in a fashion that's designed to flip-flop the racial makeup of the school board. And it's embarrassing to even have to talk about it publicly, but thus is the nature of Alabama politics. The sponsor of this bill has presented as his rationale behavior items on the part of the current board. You know, that part is somewhat laughable. considering the history of, and I just have to be, very honest. I'm not apologetic about being skeptical about Alabama politics. I'm not. I'm not apologetic. If you've walked a mile in my shoes, and unfortunately, because of some notable acts and some notable historical elements, this is what our political climate has produced. I have to be, as a minority, I have to be skeptical. And of course, I think it's very plain and very obvious that there's some racial motives here. The very people, I think it was mentioned upstairs, the very people that may and potentially will oppose or be in support of an elected school board this go-around were opposed to it in 2008. I will be the first to say that our society, many of the people, the good people in our society, are hungry for a message of unity. They are, and this kind of discussion really turns their stomach. But unfortunately, the acts of a number of notable, just evil people in our history, in our political history, has made skeptics out of many of us. And we have to question it. We have to, and I don't apologize for that. I don't apologize for that. The promise of a lot of what our Constitution and a lot of our acts and a lot of our legislation promises many of us doesn't meet the reality that many people see. And so politically, there's always going to be that tug of war that exists. And again, as long as I'm an elected official, I'm not going to apologize for questioning it. Now, what I will say is that I'll quote Dr. King in the shadow of his holiday. I'll quote something that Dr. King said. Dr. King very famously said, a black supremacist is just as bad, if not worse, than a white supremacist. And I don't think it's meaningful for me or anyone else as a minority, regardless as to how bothered we are by some political act, to become a racist in response to it. I think we have every right and should challenge those things that we question. But it's not okay to become a racist in response to it. The things that racists have done in Alabama over the years were evil. They were very evil. And again, that society and that climate has created generations of skeptics. When I'm long gone, and I'm only 47 years old, when I'm long gone, we're probably still going to have young people and people of color who are very skeptical of the political process because it's served them such a disservice over the years. And that's unfortunate for people in this room that I'm looking at right now who I know do the right thing on a day-to-day basis. But it is a skepticism that's been baked in because of the system of politics that we've had to address and had to face over the years. So again, we're going to vote on this here well, we already have voted on it. We have already voted on it. But I want people to understand that the highlights of this resolution are, one, to definitely highlight the fact that we're not opposed to people voting. So anybody that's trying to pitch that and propose that is short of the truth and almost to the point of lying to you. We support people being able to vote on whatever issues that exist. Secondly, again, I think people don't need to lose sight of why would a state legislator not only propose, I mean, again, a referendum was passed in 2008 that allowed people to vote on an elected school board. Why would a state legislator propose an 8th at-large position on a board, an even-numbered board that would be rife with gridlock? Why would someone propose that? And I'll leave that up to you to answer the question as to why they would propose that. Okay. Is there any
Mr.
more?
President, yes, I would like to say something. The reason, and don't have to explain why I voted the way I voted. But my intention was to bring the attention to the resolution. This resolution right here won't be seen by anybody probably but the Times and everybody up here. That's it. So they wouldn't know that we are for the public having the right to vote on this, okay? That was my contention, and most of us say the same thing at the time, but I agree. Along those lines, I agree with what you're talking about. But I did want to stoutly say, please print it. Please let the people know how we feel about that. That's it.
Yeah.
Can I
Thank you.
say something? Okay. This resolution, really, we should, Mr. Butler, the representative shouldn't have brought this up unless we asked, like everyone has said, to pass the resolution back in 208. They asked for the people to have a right to vote. No one's up here is against people voting on an elected school board. And we're not going to tiptoe around the issue. It's all about race. You know, it's a 4-3 majority now, blacks on the Board of Education, just like it's a 4-3 majority up here on this council. And the school board in the situation that brought all this about made it easy for them to do this, because all they had to do was communicate and do it above board, getting rid of the superintendent, and I don't think we would be in this position. But they wanted to listen to outside forces, of people. They wanted to listen to other people, but that's my opinion now. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. So what I wish would have happened, this representative would have came and sat down with us. He doesn't even represent anybody in the city of Gadsden. And for him to do this, you know, the Republicans holler about state rights. What about city rights? You know, we should have been consulted before he went and did this. And then talking about an at-large seat, going from 7 to 8. And we all know what that is about, just to flip it from the majority black that it is now. And I'm what's about right. Right is right and wrong is wrong. It's simple. And I think this is wrong. But I have no problem with anybody voting on it to go to an elected school board. And I'm gonna go a step further. If you really wanna do something for the kids and put more money into the kids in these school system, we look at going from 3 school boards in one county to 1 school board. And since Gadsden is the county seat, we have the Gadsden City School Board. Then you can have representation from the county and Natala, if you really want to look at it that way, because we're paying too much administrative costs. You know, some people say, well, it still wouldn't make a difference, but yeah, let's try it. Let's look at it to do that. But we all gonna have to, it's 2018. We shouldn't still be talking about race in this country, in this city. But I guess racism will be here till the good Lord come back. But we're gonna have to change and come together, because we all gotta work together. We all may have came over on separate boats, but we all in the same boat now. And when one is hurting, we all are hurting. You know, we haven't arrived as a community yet. We think we have, but we haven't. We still have a lot of work to do. And as I said yesterday at our prayer breakfast, what we ought to do as a community, when certain people have a problem, they come to City Hall for their grievance, and this room is standing room only. But when other communities have a problem, they just complain about it and don't get up and come up here and have standing room only so you can have your grievances addressed. But we as a community, we're going to have to come together, and we're going to have to work for the betterment of our kids, this city as a whole, not just Country Club, not just the Mountain, not just Alabama City, not just Tuscaloosa Avenue or East Gadsden, but all of us going to have to work together. And for the representative to do this, and some people say he's my friend, yeah, we talk, we're friends, but I don't like his politics, and I tell him. And I would tell him again, I don't think this is right. So I'm going to be quiet because I can go on. Thank you.
All right. Is there any more new business?
Let's go snow.
All right. Remarks by the mayor and council?
Changing the
Councilwoman Toles.
subject. I have a community meeting January the 22nd at Peyton Baptist Church. My guests will be Chief Jaggert and Mayor Guyton.
All right. Thank you, Councilwoman Toles. Mr. Eccles?
I'm against an elected school board.
Thank you, Mr. Eccles. Councilman,
Said all I was gonna say, thank you.
all right. Councilman Benson?
I'm like Mr. Eccles, I'm against an elected school board, but I believe the people should have the right to vote whether they want an elected or appointed one.
All right, thank you. Councilman Reed? All right. The only other thing I'll say before we adjourn is I do want to commend those who were responsible for organizing the MLK event on last night. The Talladega College Choir was amazing again. They get better every year. And of course, the speaker last night, Anthony Daniels, who's Speaker of the House with the state legislature, was also very good last night as well. So enjoyed the event for sure. All right, if there's nothing else, I
Well,
entertain.
Mr. President, we need to thank the clerk's office for the brunch this morning, and especially Laura, sister, for the cake.
All right, you've done it.
That's
We
it.
had the garbage
And we need to
schedule
recognize
changes.
special
Oh, the
guests out
garbage,
there in the
garbage.
audience too, that just walked in, Miss Jenny.
Yeah.
We hadn't seen her in a while, so.
How's your campaign going?
All right. You. All right, just the final announcements I'd like to make are related to the garbage schedule. Due to yesterday's holiday, Monday's garbage route is being collected today, and Tuesday's route will be collected on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday's route will not change. And due to the Alabama League of Municipalities legislative session in Montgomery, the council will not meet next Tuesday, January 23rd. The regular schedule for work session and council meeting will resume on the 30th.
I forgot I had
And I
an
think
announcement.
you didn't announce, but the groundbreaking for the East Gadsden Community Center has been canceled.
Yeah, due to the
They
weather,
haven't
that's right.
given a new date, but it's been canceled.
Was also asked to make an announcement about the bad weather that's coming in. I was asked to say, please stay off the roads unless you really have an emergency, you really need to be on the road, and let's leave the roads available for the emergency vehicles. So we're supposed to be having some pretty bad weather come in, and if that case, please stay off the road and check on your neighbors in this real cold time that we're having. Thank you.
All right, if there's nothing else, I entertain a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
All right.